Hey, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast for you. Let's talk about that new Linkin Park. The short version is, I think she's a great fit, Emily from Dead Sarah. I think she's a great fit. I think the song is okay. I'm a huge Linkin Park fan. For me, being a radio programmer and a music fan in the early 21st century when Hybrid Theory came out, it was a game changer. Like a lot of my favorite albums, Nine Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine, Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking, some albums from that time period and later, they really changed the game, and Linkin Park totally did on that first album. Second album, even better. They just raised the bar on it. From the third album on, Linkin Park is the only band that as an adult I joined a fan club of. I was a KISS Army member when I was a kid, but the only fan club I've joined as an adult was LPU, the Linkin Park Underground. I got a CD every year. I got a T-shirt every year. I got stuff every month. And when it came right down to it, one of their tours, I won backstage passes through that, through the fan club, and got to meet the band as a fan. So I'm a big fan. At the time, Breaking the Habit had come out on a DVD single because it was an anime video, and I took it backstage, and they all signed it. And I have that to this day. I'm a huge fan of their early work, but somebody who came disenfranchised after Minutes to Midnight and everything after. They just kind of became a pop band. It was like they were trying to become U2, and I don't begrudge that. Like, any band needs to evolve. Other than AC/DC, very few bands can put out the same album every year and make it good. AC/DC somehow made a career of not evolving their sound literally at all. They sound the same on Back in Black as they do today. Not a bad thing, but, nobody else can do that. So Linkin Park, I understand, had to grow into a much bigger, more world-centric band, and they did. They became monumentally more successful after they got a little less heavy. But for me as a rock programmer, when I look back on the songs we play both on my internet stations and on my FM stations, we basically play stuff from the first two albums. A couple other songs from later on, Bleed It Out and things like that. But for the most part, rock radio, the first two albums, that's what we still love from Linkin Park. So all that being said, they, like a surprise to everyone, dropped a new song, a live performance, and a new singer and a new drummer. Why is nobody talking about a new drummer? On the live video, he's kicking ass. I had to look him up. He's more of a producer guy, kind of like one of those Andrew Watt guys who can play music but also produces. But anyway, they've known him for a long time, and I thought he was kick-ass on the drums, but where's the drummer? We know what happened to Chester. The song, as a fan of the band, it didn't do much for me. It takes way too long to get to the meat of it. It is a 3-minute and 10-second song that takes a minute to get going, a minute for the guitars to come in. We've got a lot of Mike singing over it, and then we've got this mellow bridge, and then we finally get into the song. 1/3 of a 3-minute song is intro. I don't think the song deserves that. I think that you need a more epic song to spend that much time. The first time we played it here at the station with all my rock friends and radio programming staff with me, we were all like, okay, are they going to get to it? We're singing another verse, and it's still kind of mellow and effecty, and it finally gets to it. Now, once the song gets going, the last 2 minutes song, not bad, and her contribution to it, really good. Like, I think she fits the band. But so many of my friends are just posting, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Oh my God, it's amazing. And I'm just like, do we hear the same song? Like, I'm glad they're back. I hope they continue, and I hope there's some really good stuff on the album. But this sounds like something that was left off one of the last albums. It sounds like where the band left off, because it's not that heavy. Like I said, it takes, out of a 3-minute song, it takes a minute to get going. Not that there's anything bad in the song, but it suffers from a lot of the same things that modern rock music suffers from. It sounds very generic. My buddy Chris put it best: if I asked AI to write a Linkin Park song and add a female vocal to it, this is what it would come up with. I can't really deny that. Some of my friends are talking about how fresh and creative it is. Really? Being mellow with a bunch of effects on you for a minute and then getting into a rock song a minute later and having 2 minutes of that and then just kind of ending, that is fresh and exciting? Let me point you to my prog rock station on the internet that will give you something fresh and exciting that you haven't heard before. But this, it sounds like pretty much generic rock that's being produced like a lot of the bands out there these days. And again, I'm a fan. I'm glad they're back, and I can't wait to hear the album. I really can't. The live performance gave me the hope. I didn't talk about that much. When they debuted all this stuff, we had to wait for the video. I got the single immediately, but we had to watch this live streaming concert where at first they did a lot of the new songs, okay, or some new songs, but then when they started doing stuff like Numb, let's see how she fits, and she fits. I'm not going to make the joke that they kind of sound like a tribute band, but this is the same problem I have with a lot of bands that change singers, that they need to really chart a new course. And this song doesn't sound like it's that. I hope it is the first steps towards something new. And like I said, I think she's a great fit. I'm not hating on her, but if you're going to be Linkin Park, you need to be Linkin Park. And so let's push the envelope. Let's push it. The technology, the songwriting, everything. Those first two albums really move the bar up. And then they've kind of just maintained that level. I would like to see them with her input go further. And maybe the album does that. Again, the live performance, the new drummer, he's amazing. I'm sorry his name is escaping me. I did look it up yesterday. But Emily, she fits the band. And the rest of the band is, what happened to the headphones? On our guitarist, we got no headphones this year. Mr. Hans doing great. Great work back on the keyboard, or the keyboards and the turntables. All in all, I'm glad they're back. I want a better song. So this leads into a conversation I'm going to have with the general public in radio. I think we need to go back to 2 rock charts. Several years ago, we folded the mainstream rock chart and the active rock chart into one rock chart. And that does a disservice to rock. Because these days on Octane and other active rock stations, there is a handful of songs that these mainstream and classic-leaning rock stations won't touch because you can't play them next to the current artists we have on the air. To me, every song that I add new to any of my stations has to fit what's already there. And a lot of the stuff is pop-leaning, overly auto-tuned, overly produced stuff from Spotify that doesn't really work on rock stations next to more organic analog recordings of everybody from Zeppelin and Van Halen to more modern bands like Godsmack and Disturbed. Got to be rock to be on my rock stations. And the Linkin Park song, I'm putting it on my internet station, which leans a little more active rock, but it doesn't really fit there because, again, we've got a minute of this mellow pop song before we get to the rock song. And we're probably not going to play it on my classic-leaning rock station on the FM because it just doesn't fit what we do. We don't play any of that later Linkin Park either. I'm going to play it today on my show. I'm recording this on a Friday. The song just came out yesterday. I am going to play it this afternoon and let the public decide. But again, I'm the program director of the radio station. I decide what gets played on the radio. And this doesn't exactly fit what we do, but they're a huge band and they're coming back, so we need to play it and let people decide. And if I get an overwhelming amount of requests, maybe we will play it. But I'm holding out for something better, something a little more rockin' from the album. I think this was one of those singles that this should make everybody happy. Let's release this, and then we'll get to the meat of it later. I hope that's the case. I think Emily's a good fit. I'm glad the band is back. I wish I had a better song as a single. And it's an edit, so I'd like to hear more. Is there more rock stuff? When I finally downloaded the song and put it on one of my stations, it does say radio edit at 3 minutes, 10 seconds. So what is edited? Language, length. If we cut down a 5-minute song to 3 minutes and 1 minute of that is intro, I'm going to be upset. Let me get a copy of the full album and I'll let you know more. Anyway, I'm glad Linkin Park's back. The tour begins soon. They've got some minor dates around the world and then a big tour coming in 2025. So fingers crossed for everything. I hope it works out for them. And again, I think she's a good fit. I think it could be good. Let's, proof is in the pudding. Let's hear it. Let's hear the rest of the album. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. That's me talking about Linkin Park. A big fan. I thought the song was okay. I hope the rest of it's great. Thank you for listening to a podcast. If you'd like to support the channel, links are below. Have a spectacular day.